In between more plumbing frustrations...
It's got a leak. Oh dear.
And yet more plasterboarding.
We are picking paint for this old Irish cottage. Can we really be at that stage yet?
Messy, messy, messy.
Disgusting pink.
Ooh.
Quite possibly a pointless exercise. It's a hill day today. Every day's a hill day around here. I'm heading up to go and maybe harvest some potatoes, but I've brought reinforcements. This is my magic cube. Thank you to Bottle Bottle for sponsoring today's video. So reinforcements in the way of hydration, reinforcements in the way of my daughter, extra pair of helping hands. This is my go-to when I'm tackling chores like these or just out and about outside. She's got the Hydro X bottle. And this one's pretty cool because there's a secret compartment in the base. What do you have in your secret compartment?
Sweets.
Sweets. I mean, other people would probably put vitamins or supplements or something in theirs, but she's bringing sweets. One of the things I like about this bottle is absolutely no leaks, which is particularly useful when it is rattling around in like my harvest basket or the wheelbarrow or something. And it keeps water ice cold for hours. And they come in lots of snazzy designs, so perfect for a pop of colour this summer. You're going to be wild and free out in nature as well this summer. You're going to need to stay hydrated, right? Go and grab one of these for yourself.
Head to our link in the description and use our code for 15% off.
Thanks to Bottle Bottle for sponsoring today's video, and thank you to Matthew for crowing incessantly in the background.
Wait.
Doesn't matter, I'm going to pull the whole thing out. Oh, nice. They're quite fun to dig for, aren't they?
I mean, yeah. I think I'm just... Can I just dig all of them up?
Yeah?
Can I dig this one up as well?
Yeah.
Cool. It's just because I can keep going over.
Just on a roll.
Yeah. Then I get like 3 potatoes from this plant.
Yeah, some of them will have more than others, it's funny. Who do you think pulled the most potatoes?
Definitely me. Look at my stash.
That's your pile. That's my pile. Who pulled the biggest one? Get your biggest one out, and I'll get mine. Although I think this is actually a seed potato. We might have pulled the seed potatoes out.
I think mine's biggest.
So I've been doing more jobs this evening, trying to button up all of the loose ends, mostly get prepared for putting the floor down. Can't put the floor down until I get everything out of the way. I can't get everything out of the way, like these cement boards. I've got the remaining plasterboard to go on here, so I can't put the plasterboard on here because the test of the water manifolds was an epic fail. The 3/4 inch BSP fitting to join the feed for the hot and the cold into the manifold, it's weeping on the thread. It turns out that all of these female 3/4 inch BSP to 15mm compression fittings are all BSP parallel thread, and parallel thread is not a watertight or gas tight union. It's kind of just a really good example of how rubbish the plumbing industry is in Britain and Ireland. Why do they create a fitting that needs to end up watertight or gas tight, which by design is not watertight or gas tight, and you need to mess around with adding threads and ropes and tapes and whatever splodge? What a faff. These are low quality fittings from my local hardware store, so just to rule out these fittings aren't at fault, I've got a couple of branded replacements on order from a reputable brand. Not many options at the moment. I'm just using heavy duty PTFE tape, which isn't good enough to make a British standard pipe parallel thread watertight. By all accounts, there's a special rope, Loctite 55 rope, that is good at getting the BSP parallel threads watertight. So I've got that on order. It's not turning up until next week. So I can't. Point is, I can't button up this. I can't put this plasterboard in place because I can't button up this manifold. Which means putting in the final piece of cement board in here is a pain because I need the plasterboards to be on the side so that I know the dimensions to get the final width. So I've got some temporary pieces in place. Anyway, whole load of crap, and I'm finding it challenging to actually button it up and get things done because I'm just waiting on stuff arriving. The final job for this evening before the sun goes down, because I want to go for a dip in the lock and wash away all these blues, I'm going to fit a piece of cement board on side here. So I've been going horizontally up until the window reveal, and then this entire section here I can turn a whole board on its side, and the full width of it will come up to the rebate for the vanity mirror. So I've got that all ready to go. I want to show you, I've got some fancy hole saws, and these hole saws I bought best part of 10 years ago to do exactly the same job, cutting through the marble tiles that I laid in our last bathroom renovation, which turned out absolutely beautiful. You can hack away at the tile and the cement board and create a hole with a normal drill bit by just making lots and lots of holes in a circle, or get an angle grinder and kind of keep on rotating the blade until you've kind of got some sort of semblance of a circle. But I don't like that. I like my holes to be round. I like hole saws for that reason. Tungsten carbide grit hole saws, so they've got a really abrasive edge on them, and they go through anything, particularly things like an inch worth of marble. Yeah, it should melt through these cement boards like butter. Like butter. Simples when you have the right tools. Woo!
So we're in the part of the house that is not going to get done in phase 1 of the renovation. Yes, we're still on phase 1. In the extension, which is also servicing as our gym. If you can hear that in the background, that's washing machine. Also servicing as our utility room. I'm doing something really quite fun. I'm going to paint samples on the wall, like test patches. Somehow we're actually at the stage of choosing paint colours. Now the only problem in here is we have this violent pink, which will probably distort our opinion of the colours, so it's not ideal in that way. However, I can't paint the samples in the rooms that we're choosing the colours for because they've all had their scratch coat by the plasterer. I can't paint on that. Probably should have done this before. That's how things are here sometimes, but let's just get on with it. 8 samples. As I feared, a combination of the violently pink walls and lack of light in here is making this quite possibly a pointless exercise, because I'm not sure we're going to be able to detect the subtleties in colour. We'll make it work. Squeeze it in. There we go. Look away. Look away, any professionals. Don't like that one. Who's next? Go away. Because it's dark, because of the disgusting pink, I can just about imagine. Let me know your thoughts.
So, this evening's job. The theme is get everything out from under my feet so that the concrete floor can be laid without too much hassle. or minimal hassle. It's going to be hassle regardless. Step one of that has been to get the cement boards temporarily in situ, and the plasterboard for this wall is being delayed because of the manifold shenanigans I've been having, so that's just sitting there for the moment. So this room just needs to tidy up. I need to get the doors out of the way. Oh, I don't think you guys have seen those doors. Those doors they're likely the original doors. They were just strewn outside through the winter before we bought the place, arrived, found them, and then brought them in to dry out. So we've rescued them. We'll be putting them to good use at some point in the future. Anyway, back to the topic at hand. Aim of the game is tidy up all of the stuff from out of the cottage. One of the last remaining pieces of that puzzle is the PIR, the foil-backed PIR insulation, the skinny stuff which is going around the perimeter of the underfloor heating slab. So it's a 1-inch board, a 1-inch deep board by the full depth of the underfloor heating slab, and it just goes around the entire perimeter. It's this stuff. Here's one I've made earlier. So inch thick, foil backed. What have I got? I've got 4 full 8x4 sheets, 1.2 by 2.4 meter sheets, and storing sheets that large when you don't have a garage, a barn or a shed, and all you've got is a full lorry is a challenge. So I'm actually going to cut them up into the final size pieces I need, which is the 4-inch 100mm depth for the perimeter, butted up against the wall, between the wall and the underfloor heating slab. So yeah, I'm going to be cutting them into 4-inch strips. I haven't yet found a method which cuts this board regardless of its thickness with nice straight 90-degree edges. You use a long blade and it weeble wobbles all over the place and you end up with a wavy edge. No bueno. I like a nice clean butt joint. So yeah, I'm going to be doing a horrible job, absolutely disgusting job of using the circular saw, the track saw, and obviously it's going to be creating a whole bunch of dust, insulation dust, which is not good. But it is what it is. I've got to do what I've got to do, so I better get started. Horrible job of cutting up this insulation is complete, and that's probably my second least favourite job behind chiseling off the cheeks of the window reveals. Messy, messy, messy. Dust masks on, safety goggles on, completely covered in chopped up, well, microplastics basically. Horrible material to work with, horrible material to use. Nothing comes close in terms of performance for value basically. PIR insulation, it's pretty ubiquitous in building these days. It's horrible stuff, but it's here to stay. Anyway, job is done. All chopped up into 4-inch high, 100mm tall slivers. So these are all going to be used around the perimeter of the underfloor heating slab, just as kind of upstands, so that the heated slab doesn't come in contact with a cold wall around its perimeter. Anyway, so the whole point of this exercise wasn't actually because I'm ready for this, it was just to actually be able to get it out of the way. Let's get these up into there, and that's one less job on the list. Time for comment of the week.
So comment of the week this week was nominated by another commenter, and we've seen this happening a little bit lately and we really love it actually. We love when you guys are talking with each other, liking and commenting on each other's comments, having a conversation, and really like it if you see something that you think is comment of the week, then do flag it. This week's comment is super useful and comes from...
The problem with usernames that are compound names, like trying to break it, where's the breaking point? It's a triple name, that's why. It's Seni Aiken Green, or Seni Asian Green, I think.
We've no doubt said that wrong, and our sincere apologies. We have the kind of names that people pronounce incorrectly day in and day out.
Yeah, no one would have a hope in hell of picking my name apart if it was just all one word. It's bad enough it's 2 words, isn't it?
Yeah. Anyway, thank you to this commenter, because they said,
don't pull bracken, it encourages the rhizomes to spread. Instead, bend the stems. Not sure why this causes them to die, but it does. I fought bracken for years by pulling it and only ended up with bigger and bigger patches. When I started bending the stems instead of pulling, I was pretty close to bracken free within 2 years. Wow! That's an interesting comment. Thank you for that. I haven't heard that before.
no, nor me. We'd heard of rolling, and somebody else suggested rolling in the comments, which we just heard from a friend around the lock, but never heard of bending.
Yeah, great comment. Appreciate that. We'll be giving that a go.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that. This is why it's worth putting your endeavours on the internet so that people can correct you, because
The hive mind.
we would have been there pulling bracken to the end of our days.
I mean, it is
until bracken just became us entirely.
It is satisfying to pull bracken.
It is satisfying.
It comes out in quite a satisfying, like pop-like manner, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
But if it's not doing anything other than actually encouraging it, then we're kind of wasting our time.
Thank you everybody who comments week in, week out. We love you guys. We appreciate your wisdom. And we're looking forward to your input this week with our paint choices.
Right, so take 2 for this blasted water distribution manifold. We've got the replacement 15mm compression to 3/4 inch BSP fittings. These are the branded high quality versions. You know they're high quality when they come with a copper olive. None of this cheap brass nonsense. I'm going to replace both the cold and the hot version of these with the new high quality version, and I'm going to try it using my standard method with the high density PTFE tape. And I'm not going to use on the first attempt this replacement Loctite 55 sealing rope. I'm not going to use this on a first attempt. I've never used this before, but lots of plumbers, it's in their standard toolkit. I mean, it's just PTFE string basically. Why that would seal better than a PTFE tape, I have no idea, but I will use it as a last resort because the plumbers swear by it, and it's meant to be the splodge of choice to seal up these fittings. But I'm going to put my faith in the high quality fitting. I'll give that a go. In theory, it should be exactly the same problem as the existing cheap fitting, but I'll give it a go nonetheless. While I'm here, might as well have a little experiment and try and learn something other than just pain and suffering. Interesting. This higher quality fitting has got much less thread in there. So what might actually happen is that the male thread might actually bottom out, and it might even help seal. Let's find out. Going to need to use the olive remover. Rare tool to require as a DIY, but an invaluable one. Why? Oh. FML. Without the fitting. Ah, dear, oh dear. Dear, oh dear, oh dear. The interior diameter of 15mm or 1/2 inch plastic pipe is less than copper. The nut remover will not fit on. DIY nut removal. Don't punch yourself in the face. Come on. Don't make me chop you off. Oh. Okay, 1 copper olive removed, nut off, new nut on, new pipe stiffener, new olive. Okay, new fitting, where are you? PTFE. hopefully stands for effective. This is the third time lucky. Come on, you little beauty. Okay. Now then, let's get the pipe on. That is buttoned up. Now, time to turn the water back on and pray this doesn't leak. Because if it does, I'm going to be breaking out whatever the hell this is. Pipe sealing cord. Why is this even a thing? Manifold hooked up, water flowing. Third time lucky, I think. I have tested it. The water has been flowing and the new fitting doesn't have a leak. It is not weeping, not even in the slightest. I think the lesson I've learned here is not have random bits of splodge alternatives in your toolbox. But the lesson I've learned here is you buy cheap and you buy twice. So I'm going to actually leave that overnight because I don't think I trust it to seal it up right now. Do I trust it? Would I heck?
So we realised that the test patches in the extension was a mistake. Turns out with a grubby, horrible background colour and really low level lighting, it's really difficult to choose paint colours. So what we did is we decided to actually abandon the off-whites. They're less of a critical decision. We might just go with actual white. And instead, I did this. Ta-da! So I found a piece of plasterboard knocking around and popped the samples on it so you can get a much better look. Isn't this better? So let me stand here. We've got paw print, Flora's tail. This is actually the colour that I painted the trim in my cabin. Blush and golly gosh. Fun fact about this one, guess who chose this colour? I'll give you a hint. It wasn't me. That's right. Kayvan chose this one. I don't mean he's chosen it, we haven't made a final decision. I mean, when we were deciding which samples to even get, this was his input, the rest were me. Perhaps surprising. So as you can tell, we've gone with all quite warm colours. The thinking, the thinking being that because we have the exposed stone walls in this room and the lounge, that we could really do with a warm colour to act as a nice counterpoint to the stone so that it doesn't feel too cold in here. In this room, because of the high ceilings, and it is quite light, I think we can get away with a darker colour. We had considered one colour all the way through, but we're kind of wondering now if in what is the lounge, because it's smaller, lower ceilings and just darker feel in there, if it's too dark it might just be a little bit oppressive. We went with a really dark colour in our lounge in the UK, a dark inky blue, which we really loved, but in the winter it just felt like you'd walked into some sort of void. So here we go, this is it. This is the final four to choose from. Now let us know in the comments what you think. But it's useful now having it on this because I can move it around between the rooms and prop it up against all of the different walls so that I can get a better judge of the colour. Much better than my failed experiment in the pink dungeon. Although it is kind of funny that we have sandblasted the pink off the outside of the cottage. We really despise the particular hue of pink that the camera doesn't even do it justice, so how bad it is that we have the gym / utility, and yet these are pretty pinky hues and I'm wearing a pink top as well. Yeah, I know. Evidently this cottage just begs for some pink in some form.
So here we are folks, a full 12 hours later, and it is... Oh, I was about to say, it has got a leak. It's got a leak. Oh dear, oh dear. Oh, just grab some tissue to wipe my tears. Right, where is it leaking from? I'm sure I removed the tissue and that wouldn't happen. Whatever leak there is, it is absolutely minimal.
because I had a piece of tissue underneath it
all evening, and it was bone dry when I took it out this morning, so that's why I assumed there wasn't a leak. I didn't feel around the fitting.
To me, that is watertight.
I'm going to take that as a win. So it just goes to show, peeps, you pay your money, you take your chances. And the cheap fitting was no bueno. Well, I say cheap, it was the only fitting available at my local hardware store.
Yeah, I'm happy with that. That is the winner.
It's pressurised. Let's get some water flowing again. Yeah, happy with that. It's infinitely better than the original fitting, so I'm going to do the same. I've prepared the hot manifold for just screwing straight in. I'm going to screw that in and call this job done. And then I can button up this wall. I can get the plasterboard on and we're pretty much tidied up. Right, that is it, folks. I am happy with the manifolds, so I'm going to put the plasterboard on and I'm going to close this up for now. And it'll only get re-exposed when it's all plastered and I use a plunge saw to cut out a little access hatch. I've put the vapour barrier in place, covering this wall before the plasterboard goes on it. Get myself a little access flap. Right then, let's get this final piece of plasterboard on and out of my way and onwards and upwards. Plasterboard in walls is a hell of a lot easier than plasterboard in ceilings, he says now.
More frustrating plumbing this week.
Yeah, plumbing unions are rubbish. There's never an easy solution. Well, I suppose there is if you do it day in, day out, you know the easy solutions, but when you're just bumbling your way through these problems and solving them as best you can, inevitably you come a cropper, don't you, every now and again. And I came a cropper.
Well, the plasterboard's up.
Plasterboard's up, yeah.
Yeah.
Everything is kind of getting out of my way. I'm de-blocking the floor pour.
De-blocking the floor pour. There's a sentence.
Easy for you to say.
Before.
Yeah, so it is ticking along and I am full steam ahead on, I booked in the concrete this morning.
Could it be true?
Have to wait and see.
Don't tease me. Oh, the big pour, that's coming. Yay. And paint picking. I mean, this is the fun bit. This is the bit that I've just been, I'd say impatiently waiting for. The fun, prettifying stuff. It's very exciting, just the idea that we get to start to put a little bit of our own stamp on this place, isn't it?
Yeah.
Thanks for sticking with us, guys. Keep rallying around us. We definitely need it. There's going to be a big push up ahead, isn't there? And we'll see you next week, maybe with the big pour.
Thanks, folks. We enjoy having you along for the ride. We enjoy documenting our progress on this old stone cottage. Thanks for your support. Thanks for your comments. We appreciate it. And
You guys rock.
You guys rock.
See you next week.
See you next week, folks.
It's literally where I got the idea from.
Okay.
I thought that was a little bit reserved this week. I think.
Reading it in like a pro.
Somehow, we're at paint.
Nothing, it encourages the rhizomes. That's the underground roots.
It's like some chemical that it's releasing.
No,
The rhizomes.
it's root.
I want to encourage the rhizomes. They're
I'm
rising
gonna
up.
encourage your rhizome.
You've refined your delivery. now.
Professional restraint.
You've got a lifetime of practice with me.
No comment.
Encouraging the rhizomes. Is it rhizomes?
I thought it was rhizomes.